experience the American invasion that took Paris by storm in 1998. Michael Kors gave a New York sensibility to the house of Celine. At Louis Vuitton, Marc Jacobs wove a minimal message of luxury. Narciso Rodriguez retooled the dusty leather house of Loewe. And go front row for flamboyant designer Jeremy Scott's first Parisian show.
It's a savvy business move on the part of a lot of different French houses to bring a certain freshness and a spontaneity, and I think that's what Americans possess, is this very unique nonchalance, spontaneity, fresh energy that I think has changed a lot of what the French houses are about.
I think it's because the United States is developing so much talent, and it's really taken over in terms of sort of a spawning ground for amazing talent. And that the French see that and see if they want to bring it over, they want to import that, which is kind of a fantastic thing.
Americans invented comfortable clothes. But what's so great here in this instance is, especially with working in Paris, Paris is where opulence and luxury was invented. So if you marry the two, it's the ultimate stew.
I think when Levi Strauss made the first pair of blue jeans, he really invented fashion. I mean, the French, you know, their birthright is couture, but I mean, Americans invented fashion that people wear.
It's only natural at this time that designers from all over the world can work in whatever city and do so successfully. I mean, there's a much farther reach for, and a much bigger desire for women across the world to want to be able to wear whatever she wants, whenever she wants, however she wants.
In Asnières, France, just outside Paris, Louis Vuitton created luggage that has become one of the world's greatest icons of luxury. One of the earliest and most visionary designs used by Vuitton was a waterproof canvas. When the LV monogram pattern emerged, it immediately became one of the first international brand name status symbols, and quickly accompanied discerning travelers around the world. A close friendship with Charles Worth inspired Vuitton to set up a shop in Paris devoted to traveling requisites in 1854. Today, Louis Vuitton continues its commitment to excellence. Given the onerous task of taking the luxury of the Vuitton name into the world of ready-to-wear, all eyes were on American Marc Jacobs in the fall of 1998. His minimalist version of American sportswear redefined
Every day I thought about what is this Louis Vuitton? Is a down coat Louis Vuitton, or is a fur coat Louis Vuitton? Is a canvas trench coat Louis Vuitton, or is a mink coat Louis Vuitton? You know, and I made the choices. I didn't want it to look like haute couture. I wanted it to look like very deluxe ready-to-wear, and I wanted that to be durable and practical and functional.
I think, you know, it's very classic, but it's very understandable. And when it comes down to it, those are the kind of clothes that women all over the world really want to wear. Not for glamour occasions, but for every day. And that's what Vuitton is about.
The most important thing to do was to start with something quite classic and quite simple, and to do it in fabrics, and to think about details that are maybe inside, you know, not to do the obvious thing that's expected from Louis Vuitton clothing, but to do something, to start with a clean slate that we can build on. So it's the beginning of a style, and now we can evolve and we can start to redefine luxury.
That was really great. I mean, it was such a triumph. I think, I hope the French like it. It was so beautiful, so pure, and really modern. It's the way you want to dress.
It was very Marc Jacobs. I expected maybe some more handbags and shoes with a couple of LVs, but I thought he certainly was true to himself. In a way, it was very American. I'm not so sure that the French loved it. Have you talked to any French? Here's a French woman, a journalist. Oh. There you go.
No, I just mean that he was grand when everybody was minimalist. and when we all wanted minimalism. And now that we are over the minimalism, looking for some luxurious, he's a minimalist.
So I kept thinking, oh, what am I going to do for Paris? What am I going to do for Paris? But in the end, I just have to, I just did what I thought was right. I mean, we're in Paris. That's enough, I think.
I am Stephen Slowick, and I'm here to show you a few of my favorite places in Paris. As an American, I have a certain enthusiasm for things here. There's an aesthetic here that I love. There's a sense of beauty I like very much about Paris. We just came out of the Café Flore, which is a place I go to for breakfast most mornings, 2-3 times a week, or meet friends for lunch. And now we're going to head over to my bookstore. Actually, it's my late-night bookstore. It's called Loewe. It's a great bookstore, and they have an incredible selection of books from everything, photography, architecture. Now we're in architecture, and it's a great place for inspiration. And this is very interesting to me because of what I do with prints and whatnot. Techniques with computer alteration. So looking at graphic design often gives me kind of stimulates other ideas. Now we're going to head over to the Luxembourg Gardens, which is where I run in the mornings. I think there's definitely Americans in Paris who run here, but there's a lot of French people who run here too. You'd be surprised. I was surprised. I was very surprised. But it's a beautiful park. And it's also a great place when you're in a big city to watch the seasons change. And that's what's very, very nice about it. There's different aspects of Paris. I love the old Paris, the new Paris. This is the old, kind of leftover from the 18th century Paris, cobblestone street, which they redid, but it's well done. Quiet, very charming. Beautiful little houses, some big, some small. These funny little frame shops, book shops. It's the village side of Paris that I like. Now we're coming up to Chez Diane, which is a restaurant of a couple, friends of mine. Diane and Didier, and let's hope they're in. 13h, midi 30, 13h. It's just a very charming small restaurant, great food, great company, and they make you feel at home. Now we're going to the ribbon shop, Couture Choiseul, and we're at the Metro 4 Septembre. Now we're at one of my favorite shops, which is called Tout pour la Couture, which is a shop that sells ribbons and buttons and all kinds of trims for clothing. And I often come here more than anything for the ribbons. They sell antique ribbons that I use for color. They're quite amazing. They have new ribbon, but they also have ribbons from basically some from the 20s and 30s before the war. What I love about the shop, it sort of has this old-fashioned couture feeling that is still great, which you still find in Paris. And even though what I do is ready to wear, I find it very inspiring.
In his first collection for the French sportswear house of Celine, Michael Kors' New York sensibility took casual American elegance to new levels of Parisian luxury.
When I walk down the street in New York, New York is, and I'm a born and bred New Yorker, but you walk down the street in New York, and New York is all about the energy of New York City. Paris, the beauty is so intense. Just walking around the corner to work every morning, you walk out the door and there's no way it doesn't affect you. Celine is, as a house, is one of the few French houses that was really founded as a sportswear house. The established signature of the house has always been wearability, luxury, quality. Those are things that kind of make sense for me as a designer. That's why the marriage is really a good marriage. Here we are on our tour. These are all going into the atelier to be altered for all the girls. These are all the things that have been fitted already for the show. Bonjour. So now we're having these are all of our evening things, which we're in the middle of fixing for the show. A lot of handwork. So we're in the middle of alterations now on everything. And, it's, what is it, 2 days before the show? Yeah, 2 days before. You're used to this, though. I'm used to this. We'll be working until the last minute. got to all be perfect. The simpler it is, the more perfect it has to be. Everything we send out in the show, to me, it's all about, real women and how they want to dress. Well, how good? I mean, isn't the skirt good? Can we see the skirt in the front? It's good, isn't it? And yes, there's a little color in the collection. There's not a lot of color in the collection, but there is a little bit of color in the collection. That's just divine. Divine. Makes me crazy. This is raccoon, and then stretch tweed, and then the pullovers in cashmere tweed. It's very sort of, this one we were laughing, it's kind of the Duchess of Windsor taking her country stroll with her crocodile Celine envelope bag just popped under her arm. I think the whole point of the whole collection really is this whole kind of tug of war, I think, between the two, between what's really opulent, what's luxurious, but at the same time it's casual. Today people want clothes that they can really wear.
I thought it was absolutely the ultimate in chic, luxurious, easy dressing.
Michael Kors did what he did best, which were like American concepts of dressing.
Well, this coat's one of my absolute favorites. Then all through here, this is sort of the traditional Loewe coat, but now the traditional Loewe coat's in cashmere. Then all of these pieces, these are beaded cashmere, which is remarkable, all hand done, which again is something that really Paris specializes in. I think the biggest thing that, for me, is the idea that, we're establishing an image and a point of view at this house that will evolve.
I'm 19. I'm from Florida. I got started, somebody found me in a shopping mall when I was 14. And then I went to Paris when I was 17. I like Paris because it's very creative. Like everybody has their own ideas about everything, and that's exciting. I don't think I've changed as a person. I've grown up like really fast. I feel so old. I feel like I'm like 30. My parents, they really like it. My dad was like not into it at first, but he likes it now. He's cool. The best part, getting to travel around, see everything, stuff that I would never see, if I was at home still. I get really lonely in hotels all the time, alone. I have a huge phone bill. So that's probably the worst part for me. I like doing magazine work, editorial. It's creative. Every shoot's different. Different photographers, different hair and makeup, different clothes. The biggest surprise, I don't know. There's tons of surprises in this business. Somebody found me when I was 14 and I was like dying to get out of school, but I stayed and I'm glad. It was good because I still look the same when I got out. I'll probably stop modeling in maybe 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. You never know what can happen.
The Spanish leather house of Loewe drew on a tradition that's over 150 years old.
It was founded in 1846 by my great-grandfather that came from Germany. and discovered that in Spain there was a fantastic tradition of craftsmanship and art and a very interesting culture. So he decided to stay and started working in this field of leather. We have certain suppliers of leather which we work together with in Spain, and after years of investigation, the type of finishing of these leathers and the type of tanning and color processing has obtained these qualities. Loewe is basically a team of designers. I mean, the product is done by a team. We have always had this philosophy, not the star system, but really the team system.
That was then, and this is now. In 1996, LVMH's Bernard Arnault bought Loewe and soon installed rising star Narciso Rodriguez as the chief designer.
It's a great house. It's a little diamond. I just had to polish it off a bit. My challenge was to make it a bit more modern, and I hope I've achieved that. It was a bit of a challenge. The experience of working in Madrid was new to me, but it was also very inspiring. You start with what it is, and it's rich in history, and it's rich in luxury, rich in quality. Well, you see a different culture, you see a different woman, you see a different way of life, and of course that filters in and is really inspiring. It's a conservative world, but it's also a great world and an interesting world. I love to see women look really feminine, just sexy. And the length is for me. It's what I started with my own collection, and it's definitely the mood. I'm especially fond of the evening wear because I could say a lot more here with that, and I had a good time doing it. There's not one specific piece, but a lot of pieces. I'm pleased. I'm very pleased, and I feel it's a good beginning, and it'll evolve.
With so many American designers working in Paris in 1998, American sportswear made its imprint on European style.
I think that whole idea about sportswear and luxury that Mark captured in that show set the mood for Paris.
American concepts of dressing, easy trousers, lovely sweaters, Luke's coats, flat shoes, an beaded dress at night. It's just very, very simple, just a shaft of light. All of that is very American, and it's just a kind of understated way of dressing that has suddenly become very, very popular in the world.
In what was his second season at the House of Cerruti, designer Peter Spiliopoulos captured a pure version of the essence of Cerruti.
The collection is really based on light and all of these very natural colors, beautiful neutrals that go from these shades of stone and marble and alabaster with touches of light, and then into like a midnight and black.
There is a feeling of air, light. The reflection of light is becoming something which is crucial to create the movement into the clothes. And Peter is improving that at the top of what can be done, because I think that he feels the same way about what is a real modern quality way of being today.
The clothes have moved forward. I mean, tailored clothes are no longer about necessarily being tailored. To me, they're more about being unconstructed. And so the jacket now is a cardigan, it's a blouson, it's a shirt. Still in the vernacular of what is Cerruti, the sleek pant, the relaxed pant, beautiful skirts that have a sense of movement. of the collection for me, and the feeling I had about the woman this season, is based around the intimacy of touch and how the clothes feel on the woman and how she feels in the clothes. A lot of effort went into the fabrics, which are very luxurious, forms that are very simple, shapes that are very pure and quite sharp, but always this feeling of being enveloped in something soft, kind of cozy, and very discreet touches of luxury. So it's kind of a beauty that comes from the inside. There is embroidery, but for me the embroidery is handled in a way that is very new because it's done on surfaces that are very matte and very warm, very cozy, like stretch cashmere felt, which is a predominant fabric in the collection, this mohair gauze. So nothing is really too, let's say, precious. Everything just has like a finish to it.
In one of Paris's most talked about shows that season, American Jeremy Scott proved that too much hype could be a very dangerous thing.
Obviously someone who's extremely experimental. He's also someone who was overhyped. There is a point at which a designer is not ready for broad public consumption. And I think that is the case with Jeremy. I have no doubt that he's probably quite talented.
You should accept it and translate yourself. Do I like it? Do I hate it? It's an image, it's visual, it's something that you have to do, it's personal, it's like artwork in that sense. Contre-pied, or as simple or as far as you want to take it, as simple as the shoes being one high and one low, or as far as contre-pied, which in French means to take and go against. I think it's avant-garde luxury for me, and that's what's interesting, is not doing poor avant-garde looks in that sense of like homeless chic, but avant-garde and taking it into luxury where it's never really been before. Why one color? Probably because I do so much in cut and shape that it's better to rest for me in one color for the moment, but who knows, maybe next season I'm like a rainbow.
I wasn't shocked because it was all gold and fur. I was shocked because of the appalling kind of lack of ideas, and it's just sort of a kind of a vulgar, louche kind of a thing that didn't seem fashionable. But I'm sure that he has something fabulous, and one day I will probably be eating my words. As his great patron, Isabella Blow, said to me, you know, this is the avant-garde. And remember, everyone hated Alexander McQueen in his first shows.
Viva l'avant-garde.